since I'm trying to work with what I call the regional or the imaginative regional, the ex-Ottoman Empire, so I'm trying to work in the region which sometimes it's impossible to work because it's kind of impossible to work with neighbor countries, even though it's neighbors, but which I'm trying to imagine and I'm trying to work in the region. So it's not in turn like that I'm choosing artists from certain places, but I'm trying to work in the regional. So it's not the nationality, it's more the regional that's important for me.
I think it obviously plays a role. I mean, every context is different. I don't have a particular area in which I'm working, so I just try and work internationally with different artists from all over the world.
But
can you work with
artists from all over the world?
Yes.
I try. I try. And I think it can work somehow. I mean, it's definitely hard to find out about artists in different parts of the world, but I think, you know, when it makes sense, it makes sense. I mean, I'm not trying to just find artists from all over the world to work with, but I think, you know, when it's through research, you discover new people. And then obviously you take nationality into consideration. Does that answer your question? No? What thing?
Like work with the Iranian artist with the Iranian passport to bring to the US to work with? Or
Sure. I mean, that's... I haven't encountered anything like that yet. And just being in the States, there are a lot of artists who are there already or who, you know, can send things or who come, but I haven't had a problem with having an artist come yet, and maybe just because of where they're coming from, but it potentially could happen. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I think we're dealing with most of your artists, but we're coming from literature, me and Mir, and I think that it's difficult, very difficult. I think that the first thing to do is to question the concept of ex-territory. I think that language is the most maybe pure national territory, and I'm not sure that the ex-territory exists when you talk about literature. And we're writing in Hebrew, me and Mir, and I'm not sure that writing in Hebrew can be, you know, anywhere, wherever you do it and whatever you write about can be ex-territorial. Also, I'm doing research and teaching Hebrew literature, which is very unique, but still also typical national literature. And it's very difficult to talk about Hebrew literature outside the context of nationality. And so I think it's a bit, you know, maybe more complex in literature than it's in art, but I'm not sure.
We're here in Israel, and you know, the first time I was brought out to Israel, and I was curating the show of contemporary Israeli art, and I came out and I said, "But I'm going to judge art here the way I would anywhere else in the world. It's only about quality, and I'm not interested in in its locale or the history, you know, that kind of thing." And I found it's impossible in a place like this to divorce the work from its making.
Like it sounds like, yes, we are a kind of a lock in our Middle East, yes, like an island that can communicate around. But what happened, and I asked my colleague next to me, like, what if you would like to invite artists from Iran, you know, to work with, or artists from Cuba, or, you know, and then it's become not just the problem of the tents of the Middle East, it's become like something which is, you know, more general. And this is the idea about it, you know, how we can create kind of, yeah, the works, I completely agree with you, accumulate, you know, the nationality, the place that they come from, the history, whatever the work is about. But then we have other problems that we need to communicate through, you know, yeah, other issues that we are not engaged with. So the question how we can create kind of a passive resistance, how we can disobey the nationality or the politics or the real politics that are around us through art, and what can give us like ex-territory, if there is, can be, or if there is a possibility that we can work in the way that we imagined, like to work with everybody that we find interesting.
My question is about your selection of videos to show on the boat and sort of the relationship between each of those videos and this project itself, because we were earlier in the Herzliya Museum and we saw the video, The Dancer, and you know, in a very different context, and you know, it was a context of an exhibition of Palestinian artists who, you know, trained in Israel, and I guess all this is to say, how does the content and the form of that work tie to this notion of ex-territory? And, you know, more particularly, I'm curious about your decision to use, at least, I don't know because I recognize the one just from today, but I'm assuming pre-existing videos on that site.
When we curated this video program, we couldn't show it in Israel because of the boycott. These works are not, because of the boycott, they cannot be shown in Israel. So it's just something that was related for our ideas.